Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to show you how to do brakes on your GM truck. Today I'm going to be working on a 2015 Yukon, but this is going to hold true for all the full-size trucks, whether it's Cadillac, pickup truck, whatever it is. Follow the same instructions. I'm going to be putting on power stop brakes. It's supposed to be an upgrade to the brakes that are on the truck when it comes from the factory. So I should be able to stop better. It's for towing and things like that. Plus, they send you these really cool stickers when you buy their brakes. I'm going to be doing the front and the back, but I'll probably split it up into 2 videos. So let's do the front today. First thing you want to do is clean up your rotors. When they ship these out, they sometimes put oil or grease on them, and that's one thing that definitely doesn't go well together is grease on your rotors. Get your brake clean, spray it up, and wipe it off. And this sticker here says front passenger side. Definitely pay attention to what the manufacturer says. Don't worry about the direction of the slots and the holes if you got those type of rotors. Worry about what the manufacturer says. And you don't have to wipe these until they're completely dry. This stuff dries really quickly. If you don't have an impact gun, you should break these lug nuts loose before you jack it up. All right, so you want to put a 19mm socket on here and break this loose. Sometimes you might have trouble getting these loose, and you might have to put a wrench right here to keep this part from spinning as you're taking the bolts out. And caliper should come off pretty easily. And you should hang it with some kind of metal thing, but I'm fine with it just sitting up there. I don't think it's going to fall because you don't want it hanging by the brake hose. And then you can take your pads out. And this little Dumaflachi right here, this little metal thing, that's your wear indicator. It'll start chirping when your pads get down to the end, and you can see these rotors are in pretty bad shape. So now I need to take this bracket off. And I need to take this bracket off because I'm changing the rotors. If you're not changing the rotors, you don't need to take this off. That's really on there. Now I need to get the rotor off, and I need to get this out. That's a Torx. And that's a Torx 30 or a T30. And now if you're lucky, the rotor will come right off. Sometimes they might need a little persuasion. And once you get it off, it's a good idea to clean this all up. And I'm just going to put a little of this goo on here. It's anti-seize. You could put a tiny bit of grease. Just a little something to make it a little bit easier for the next time. Just don't get carried away because you don't want this flinging off onto the surface of your rotor. And it won't hurt putting a little dab on your studs either. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. You also want to take this thing here, pull these metal brackets off. You'll get new ones with the pads. And clean this all up. Then you want to take a little bit of disc brake lubricant. It's just a really thick grease, and lube up these slides. They give you a little bit with the brakes, but it's not enough. They also give you new rubber boots for right here if you need to replace them. Mine are in good shape, I'm just going to leave them. Then you want to put your new brackets on. And you also want to put a little bit of this grease right here. And that's going to help your pads move a little more freely. Not a lot, just a little bit. And now you want to put your rotor on, and again, make sure you're putting the right one in the right place. And you also want to have a spot for that retaining screw to match up. A little more of this anti-seize. Hopefully this will come out again next time. Now we can put our caliper bracket back on. Now you want to put your new pads on, and this one here with the brake squealer goes on the inside and up. Once they're in place, they should move fairly easily, so that way your brakes aren't going to rub. And you can see how much thinner the old ones are compared to the new ones. Caliper's not going to fit. We need to push these pistons back in. I have this ratcheting tool that I can use to put in here, and I just crank it and it'll push the calipers back in. You could use one of the old brake pads and put a C-clamp. It's kind of difficult because you want to push equally and you have this big hump here in the middle. So having a tool like this is definitely a lot easier to do this. A lot of people, when they're doing this, will break loose the bleeder screw, and the reason for that is you're not supposed to push dirty brake fluid back through the system. I think I have more of a potential of breaking this bleeder screw or causing other problems than causing a problem with pushing the dirty brake fluid back. So I'm going to just do it like this. You should feel slight resistance as you're doing this, but if it's really hard to do it, you may need to replace the caliper. And don't be in a hurry, take your time. And once you get it all the way in, loosen your tool up, slide it out. And now you can put your caliper back in place. Just push your slides in all the way. And put the bolts back in. Now do the same thing on the other side. After you finish putting your pads on, don't just jump in the car and drive down the street. Check your brake fluid level, make sure it's okay. Then start the car and gently and repeatedly step on the brake pedal. The pedal's at first going to go down to the floor. Just do it a few times. Eventually the pedal will come back up to where it feels normal again. Then check your brake fluid. And then what you want to do is take the car up to speed and repeatedly step on the brakes, applying hard pressure a couple of times in a row without coming to a complete stop. This will heat up the pads a little bit and get everything nice and seated. And then drive around normally for a few minutes to let the brakes cool down. Then you can put your sticker on the car. And if you want to see how to do the back brakes on the same truck, I'll put a link to a video right up here. Thanks for watching.